I see you. I had your audio on a minute ago. Is it turned up? I hear your music. I got nothing.
Hello. Welcome to another rendition of Kingdom's Evolution. Few years strong in the bag. We have a great show for you today with none other than he's moving around the screen. Jay Delsing.
I'm so non-techie, bro. I don't know what I'm doing, but
you're great.
Hopefully you can see me.
We got two faces made for radio. Woo! It's be a great show.
Yeah, that is no doubt about that.
So we are. Jay may or may not need an introduction. If you're not a golfer, he made an introduction. If you are a golfer, he shouldn't need an introduction. The show is Jay's written a new book. And I'll let him tell you all about it. We're going to talk about it. I just got done reading it this week. It was a good read. It was a fast read, and I really enjoyed it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Jay.
Thank you.
Great book, man.
Thank you.
So thanks for spending an hour with us, and I just want to go over a few of the. So, what made you want to write a book?
Well, I didn't really want to write it. My buddy Will Salisbury, who wrote it with me, is an executive with Charter Spectrum, and when I was owning, Wild Crush, the wine bar out in Town and Country. He was doing a private event, and we got to talking and drinking a little tequila, and we just started telling stories. He goes, "Gosh, you have some good stories. You should put them in a book." And I'm like, "Dude, whatever." I wasn't. And he just kept asking. Our friendship developed, and we wrote it. It was a slog, man. It took 18, almost 20 months, and basically, Joe, I have 4 daughters. They are absolutely the loves of my life, and I missed a lot of their stuff. And this was a way to kind of put some of those stories in onto print so that they could have a sense for, what I was doing. I know they know now that they're older, but, when they were younger, they didn't give a damn. They just wanted dad to be home, So that's really the impetus behind it.
So, great impetus. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was I don't think everybody understands the amount of pressure that is on not a professional athlete, but specifically a professional golfer, because the amount of pressure that is on. So like you're a professional baseball player, you're a professional basketball player, you're a professional soccer player. You have a contract, and you're going to get paid, whether you perform well, don't perform well, however you do. But a professional golfer is a 100% different beast, a different animal, different marketplace. And one of the things I wanted to go into with you, I remember the amount of pressure. Like, I enjoyed the birth of my children more than anything else in the entire universe. What a glorious, joyous moment. But I also remember within 5 minutes, I was thinking bills, pressure, money, right? It didn't take long, brother. It didn't take long to realize the responsibility that had just come into my life. And I just kind of like wanted to delve, like I kind of wanted to go back. How old were you, and what were you? Where were you on the tour? Where were you professionally when you had your first child?
Yeah, it's interesting, and I would concur, Joe. The coolest thing I've ever done is be a dad, and seeing the birth of these 4 daughters of mine was life-changing. I mean, it was attitude adjusting. It was awesome in the term of awe, not like we use awesome now. It was like, how the hell did that just happen? That's just incredible. I was my oldest daughter is Mackenzie. She was born May 31st, 1989. I was struggling my ass off on the PGA Tour. I had been on tour for 4 years. I kept my card the first 3, and I was just struggling, and it was it's hard. As soon as here's what I would say to people. You have a passion. You love something, okay? Now just start associating your livelihood with it and see how much you love it, because it takes on different meanings for some people. And so the birth of Mackenzie absolutely changed my perspective on everything. Golf wasn't nearly as important. I've had friends that have kids and they can't take it, the enormous sense of responsibility just overwhelms them. For me, it worked the other way because I saw this little person who didn't care at all about what I did on the course. She didn't care if I shot 85 or 65. And so it really made it made it better for me. I also am more of a team concept guy. I grew up that way, 4th of 5 kids. My dad was a professional baseball player, played in the big leagues. It was more about team. The family was team. And so having kids made me feel a lot like, cool, man, there's something bigger than myself involved here, something that's going to rely on me. And so for me, Joe, my career took off once I started having kids. I had my best year, moneyless-wise and world golf ranking-wise, in 1992. My daughter Gemma was born in 91. So my second daughter, Brennan, was born in 93. So my ex-wife and I had 3 girls in 5 years, and we were traveling the tour full time. The kids, I don't, probably someone traveled as much, but no one traveled more with their children than I did. I wanted them with me. We destroy hotel rooms, if, we get these adjoining rooms and it'd just be a complete disaster when we left. And it was really fun for me that way.
JJ, hold on. Are you saying so 92? Let me put some ages to this. So 92. So we're born in 61. So 92. So what are you 31? You're about 31, yeah. 32 years old, and you got a traveling show going with you to all these tournaments?
It's a circus, dude. I remember TWA was still around, and I had 7. So my ex-wife, the girl's mom, is from California. Met her when I was at UCLA and lived in a place called Palos Verdes. So we would leave right around Thanksgiving every year, stay out on the West Coast for the next 2.5, 3 months. My kids went to kindergarten out there, all sorts of different stuff out there, because the entirety of the first 2.5 months of the tour was all on the West Coast.
All right.
So we started going, and the weather was awful here. So I started getting prepped for that. And I remember one time, Joe, Lambert Airport, 3 daughters at this time, 17 pieces of luggage. 17. We got pack and plays. We got car seats. It's a shit show, man. It is a traveling circus. It's a carnival. And I loved it. It was awesome.
You're trying to get ready for a golf tournament where you make money or don't make money and feed your family.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I'm a different bird though that way.
That's insane.
I'm different that way. I know a lot of guys didn't think that way, but that was more of how I was wired.
Wow. I mean, I can't even imagine. First of all, I can't imagine 3 kids at the airport, but much less three small children, your wife, you, and then prepping to feed the family by playing golf, because I know how hard golf is. I know the amount of concentration and practice it takes. So that's kudos, man.
I'm a weirdo, dude. I don't know. It all, I still look at my life and this, I didn't have the career I wanted. I was hoping to be the best player in the world. I was aiming to be the best player in the world. I grew up thinking, I was going to win the Masters. I was going to win the U.S. Open. I made putts when I was a kid to do that. I could see it in my mind's eye. And so from that sense, my career is a little disappointing. But when you backtrack and go, okay, so you're the 4th of 5 kids. You grew up in a 1,000 square foot house. You had no money. and you got to play the PGA Tour for 25 years and played almost 700 tour events, where do I sign? You know, I take that deal every day of the week, Joe, every single day of the week.
Well, Jay, that's awesome. And one of the fun things about reading your book was learning about your dad and learning just about, you know, just how close. Well, he was a member of the New York Yankees. They won the World. He got a World Series ring. I knew your dad was a professional ball player, but reading about his integral part and that he played for the New York Yankees was awesome. That was a great story. You know, you kept it succinct and to the point, but it was brilliant.
Well, thank you. You know what, Joe? We're humble folks. We're not real showy. And my dad grew up on a dairy farm in Wisconsin, and one of the things that was laid out to me right away was, son, you do your job and you move on. You know, you don't embarrass the other side. You don't bring extra attention to yourself, and you just kind of fit into the community. And that's what I've really tried to do my whole life. And, you know, nobody thought the PGA Tour was cool, Joe, until Tiger came along. I'm just going to tell you. And for people that watch the Netflix series and stuff now, you know, we were staying at the Red Roof Inn and Racket Club, man. We didn't have private jets and concierge people doing stuff for us. It was all our stuff. You got to remember, no cell phones, no internet, and we were traveling. So it was crazy. But you know what? But it was all we knew, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
One of the other cool stories was Sean Connery. Now, have you ever? So Sean Connery. So this is when you were in college at UCLA. So this was 1982,
79.
Oh shit, your first year out of high school, huh? All right.
Joe, I haven't been. So let me lay this out to you. So my parents, for my graduation at the U High, we were classmates there, gave me a little piece of Hartman luggage. It's about this big. It was expandable. And the idea was put your shit in there and start going, right? So they drop me off. My mom gives me a hug and a kiss on the curb at Lambert Airport. I got my golf clubs. I got this little bag. I got some shoes in there. That's it. That's everything I own. And I'm going out to LA where I don't know one person. I've been on a recruit trip. I signed my letter of intent, and I'm flying into LAX. And LAX is a terrifying airport. To this day, it's a oh man. English is like the fifth most spoken language there. It is insane. And listen, I'm not well traveled. I'm 18 years old, and I'm going out there, and I have no idea who's picking me up. But somebody from the UCLA golf program is going to pick me up and take me to where I live. So, Joe, I get off the plane, I get my bags, and I'm standing there like some, Midwest doofus, and some guy comes up, who's our assistant coach, and says, "Hey, are you Jay Delsing?" And I said, "I am." And he goes, "All right, cool. You're right. All right, cool." So I get my stuff in the car. He drives me up. Joe, he stops in front of this home. You can look this up right now. The address is 555 Perugia Way, Perugia Way. It sits on the 9th tee of the Bel Air Country Club, which in my opinion is one of the top places in the entire universe to play golf. And he drops me off with a key and a piece of paper and says, "This is where you're staying." So this house is on the market for $30 million right now, Joe. In 1979, it was as big as a U-High. It's the biggest thing I've ever seen. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is where you're living for college.
Where's my dorm room? No dorm room.
Right. Where's my dorm room? Where's my Corey Pavin, College Player of the Year, when we were seniors at the U-High, won 8 college tournaments while we were seniors in high school. He's in the dorms, and I'm staying in this mansion in Bel Air. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So my head's spinning. I mean, the house I grew up in is so small. We had one bathroom for 5 siblings and two adults. Oh my God. I walk into my room. I got a walk-in closet. I got my own bathroom, shower, the whole thing, Joe. I'm like, this is insane. About 2 weeks later, Eddie Marins calls me, who's our golf coach and also the head pro at Bel Air Country Club, and he says, "Why don't you come up and hit some putts on the putting green up here? I want to watch you putt." I said, "Nah, no problem." So I walk out the back door, got my UCLA bag on my shoulder, walk up to the putting green. It's about a 5-minute walk, and I'm just putting. And it's in October because we're in a trimester system. School didn't start till late out there. We also didn't get out till the 3rd week of June. And I'm standing there, and all of a sudden I get this tap on my shoulder, and it's a very unfamiliar accent, but a very familiar voice who says, "Young man, would you care to play 9 holes of golf with me?" And I turn around, and it's Sean Connery. Now, Joe, this is 1979. This is the baddest ass in the whole world.
So, yeah, so Sean Connery, so to take it back, like we see Sean Connery now because we're older, but Sean Connery in 1979, I mean, he is in his prime.
He's it. He's it. He's
007.
He's it. He's James Bond. He's 007. And I said, "Oh, no, Mr. Connery, I'm not a member." And he goes, "No, but you're part of the UCLA golf team, right?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And he goes, "I just talked to the golf shop. They said you could go play with me." So I'm like, cool. So like a little puppy, I run over, I grab my clubs, and I'm like, I'm going to go play golf with Sean Connery. Really? So, dude, the coolest thing was he just grabbed his clubs on his shoulder too, and we just walked. We just went down. Talking. Joe, I got 0 life experiences. I have no idea what to ask him. I would love to have had that opportunity when I'm my age now, 64. I'd be like, dude, and love to ask him questions about things that I know, but I have no idea. I'm like, I don't know. You think these shoes match these pants? I mean, I don't know anything, right? So we're walking up the 9th hole, and it's dark. And after about 3 holes, he told me, "Would you stop calling me Mr. Connery and just call me Sean?" And I'm like, "Yes, sir." And he's like, "Oh, brother." So we're walking up the 9th, and I said, "Sean, I really think we should play the back 9." And he goes, "Well, it's so dark, I can hardly see my ball now." And I said, "Yeah, I know, me too, but I don't want this round to end." And he goes, "Well, why don't you come up and have a drink with me?" Joe, I'm 18. I'm like, I mean, a hobo off the corner wants me to go have a drink with him. I'm going to go. I haven't been in a bar before. We didn't have fake IDs and all this stuff. We're hillbillies from North County in St. Louis. So the coolest thing about Bel Air, it's a golf course built in canyons. It's got tunnels. It's got all sorts of things that you walk through in this. It's the coolest golf course you've ever seen. So you exit the green to the left on the 9th at Bel Air. You walk through this tunnel. This is only the 2nd time I played the golf course. So I don't know where I'm going. So I'm following Sean. We get to an elevator. It's dark. He presses the button. The elevator comes down. He gets in. We get in. I'm following him around. He goes, "Okay." We get out. It dumps you right into the men's locker room, which I've never been in. And he goes, "Okay, take your clubs over here." I'm just doing what he says. Drop the clubs off. He goes, "Okay, follow me. We're going to go to the men's grill over here. We'll go have a drink." And I said, "Great." So I'm walking along with him, and he runs into 2 buddies. And the 2 buddies are like talking to him, and he introduces them to me. This is Steven, this is George, whatever. But I am so enthralled with Sean Connery, Joe, that I'm like, I don't care. You could be the president of the United States. Not going to register.
Right.
I got Sean Connery, and he just asked me to go have a couple of pops, So they say some pleasantries and move on. I said, "Nice to meet you." Shake their hands again. We walk around the corner, and he stops, and he goes, "Hang on a minute. You really should pay attention to those guys. They're uberly creative, and they're going to do wildly cool things in Hollywood. Steven Spielberg and George Lucas." And I'm like, I don't know Steven Spielberg and George Lucas from The Man in the Moon or, nobody Tiger Woods.
Very few people would have known it. Like, it wasn't just because you were 18. 18, it was like nobody. That was probably just the start of their careers. They probably hadn't done Star Wars yet. They hadn't.
No, Star Wars wasn't out. I think Jaws had just come out or was coming out or something. But anyway. So the whole premise of the book, and then I got to go have 2 drinks with Sean Connery, and he says to me, "Do you know who Barbara Walters is?" And I don't want to be a complete dumb dick, and I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Okay, good, because she's interviewing me Saturday." And I said, "Great." And he goes, "Yeah, you can watch it." So I go back to my house where I'm living. Mrs. McCulloch, whose husband, by the way, invented the chainsaw, who also bought the London Bridge and moved it to their marina in Lake Havasu, Arizona. Crazy. I say to her, "Mrs. McCulloch, who's Barbara Walters?" And she goes, "Oh, honey, she's a really famous interviewer for ABC, and she has, and I'm like, oh, cool, because I just got to play golf with Sean Connery. And she goes, he's such a nice man, isn't he? And I'm like, Sean Connery. I'm like, and I go, well, he's going to be on with Barbara on Saturday. And she goes, cool, we'll watch it together. Joe, you can Google this. In this interview, Sean Connery says to Barbara Walters, and he's been married to the same woman his whole life, every now and then, every woman deserves a good slap. Unbelievable. I'm not kidding you. I'm not making it up, and I'm going to make zero editorials about that, Joe. But that is on YouTube, and you can check it out.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. So I'm guessing, and hey Justin, do me a favor, look up when the movie Zardoz was made, Zardoz. I am guessing. So the first movie, the first 1974. So did you ever watch the movie Zardoz? Have you ever heard of the movie Zardoz?
Never heard of it. No.
So it's a classic movie about it's a future set, but the star is Sean Connery in 1974. So before he's big time on James Bond, before really he's a big name character, he does this movie called Zardoz. And I remember my dad inappropriately taking us to this movie. It was we were way too young for it. 1974, I was 13 years old. It was R-rated. It was R-rated for a reason. But
yeah, those R-rated movies back then, Joe, were really like X-rated movies.
Yeah, it didn't overdo it, but it was not for a 13-year-old.
It was a lot for a 13-year-old.
It was a lot. But Sean Connery, big fan. So I'll segue into this. So in Goldfinger, Sean Connery steps on his opponent's ball and hides it from him, and the bad guy Goldfinger drops a ball and cheats.
Yeah.
So in your book, I'm reading. You're talking about the gruel of the Q school, and your last day there, and you pretty much made it, and you find your ball in the rough, and you hit it up onto the green. And I've been there. I've done it. Obviously not same pressure you on, but I've been there, done it. And you get up on the green, you realize it's this isn't my ball. Like it looks like my ball, but it's not my ball. So
Joe, it was a Titleist 3. It was the same number of ball that I was playing, but it didn't have my marks on it. It was at the time, it was probably the worst feeling I'd ever had in my life.
Can I ask you?
Yeah.
So you've hit the ball out of the rough. You're on the green. No one else has really seen your ball. No one else really knows that the ball you're picking up because you're picking up your ball. I'm guessing you've got another ball very close at hand that's got your markings on it. Did it ever cross your mind? Did it ever cross your mind to switch balls? To say, did it ever cross your mind like I could just put one of my balls down here, and the only person in the universe that would ever know I hit the wrong ball would be me?
Yeah, no. Joe, when I played junior golf, I fudged the rules, and, I think everybody does, and you learn. There's just this process of going through the ranks of golf and becoming a better player, and you start understanding why integrity is so important in the game, I got to tell you, Joe, one of my first years on tour, I had this situation where I was kind of in between the rules. I was like, and I was, like you said, I was alone out there. Nobody knew. And I didn't call the penalty on myself. And I got to tell you, bud, I didn't sleep that night. And I got out the next day. It was a Sunday, and my balls were flying like this. I was so screwed up. I just, so anytime, that just reinforced I was doing the right thing. Anytime I got close to some sort of situation, I either called an official or I took the penalty, because I couldn't. I just couldn't. I wanted to, because from the competitive guy you want to, but man, it'll just eat you alive. It'll bury you. It's something that you can never undo,
I understand. I get it. So you're going through it to Sean Connery. So the pressure that you felt the as I was reading through the book, we went through that. Those are my two topics. I thought we were going to take a lot longer on those two topics that we did, Jay.
Oh, well, when you talk about the cheating topic, I had this incident at Glen Abbey at the Canadian Open with a guy named Scott Hope.
Yeah, that was it.
And so, yeah, so I can tell that story if you like, because to this day, that story still fires me up, Joe. And so when you're playing on the PGA Tour, one thing that you don't want people to say is that you're loose with the rules or a cheater. You don't want you just can't outrun that. You will be looked at. Mark McCumber is a guy that's like that. And every single time I played with him, Joe, I had one eye on him all the time. It was like everything he did seemed shady to me, and I actually like Mark, but I don't like some of the stuff he does on the golf course. So anyway, I'm playing with Neil Lancaster and Scott Hoke, two really tough personalities to play with on tour. If you would have asked anybody else in the field, they'd have said Delsing's got the worst pairing of the week, because these guys are asshats. They are just tough personalities, right? We're going along at Glen Abbey, and the Canadian Open, by the way, at the time, Joe, was so cool. It's a national open. You win that, it's like the U.S. Open for us.
Right.
You win that, you're the Canadian Open champ for the whole year, And they took it seriously. The fans were so gracious, Joe, and they turned out. And I'm walking down the ninth hole, and I should have won the Canadian Open at least twice. I had a bunch of top 5 finishes there. I played in the last group on Sunday 3 or 4 times. I had a lot of chances to win there. I made triple bogey twice on number 11, 2 separate years. Anyway, so on the ninth hole, it's a very difficult hole. Back in the day, 460 yards long. The rough is high because it's their national open. And there's a pond in front of this green. And Neil Lancaster and I hit our balls in the right rough. Scott Hoke is in the left rough. He's got a good lie. He hits his ball up on the green. As Neil and I get closer to our balls, I could see one ball sitting in up beautifully, and I cannot see the other. And the marshal's there with a couple flags, so we know the other ball's are. I'm like, oh, man, I hope my ball is sitting well. Well, my ball was sitting poorly. So I said, Neil, I'm going to identify this ball to make sure this is, you're allowed to identify your ball anytime at all. Neil's standing right there. I put a tee in the ground, lift the ball up, my ball, put it right back in the hole. I chip my ball out, Joe, 15 feet over this way into the fairway. Neil's got the good lie, hits his ball in the green. I knock mine on the green, 2-putt, make my bogey, and off we go.
So the point being, for those that aren't golfaholics, is if you're in the rough and you can't play your shot, you just chip out to the fairway. But if
I couldn't keep my ball in the air long enough to get it over the water. If I'd have swung normally at it, it'd have gone right in the water.
Right,
so I'm trying to save a shot or two by playing it out to the fairway where I have a clean lie. I get my third shot on the green and hopefully hole a putt for par.
But if you could have maneuvered your ball a little bit to be like Neil's, where it's sitting up a little bit in the rough, you could have done the same thing they did and go for the green and get on in 2. If your ball
it would have saved me a shot.
When you identify your ball, if you would have placed it a little differently in the grass as opposed to where it was down deep in the rough, you could have had a shot to the green. Okay, so go ahead.
Right. So we go to number 10, we tee off, and there's a vibe that goes with every group, Joe. You know this from playing. Yep. You get the different personalities. And I'm down walking through the middle of the 10th fairway, and I'm like, something is wrong. So I run straight over to Neil. I'm like, Neil, what's going on? What's happening? And he goes, Scott Hope thinks you cheated. And I'm like, Joe, you can inadvertently break a rule anytime. Anybody, every single golfer has done that.
Understood.
Jack Nicklaus, we all have, right?
Yep.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do? And he says you teed your ball up in the rough. And I said, Neil, you were standing right there. He goes, I told him he was, and he said a few things crazy. And then he said to me, don't worry about it. I'm like, whatever. I know Scott's he's a nutbag anyway. So off we go. Neil plays lousy. Scott plays lousy. I'm playing well. Okay. Get up the next morning, and we tee off the back 9 first. And Neil plays 4 holes and quits. He's so bad. He's like, I can't make the cut. I'm out. I'm getting on a plane. I'm out. So it's just Scott Hoke and I. And I'm playing well. I'm in the top 10. Scott's going to probably miss a cut, but we're going to the 18th hole, Glen Evans. It's a famous hole. It's the same hole that Tiger Woods hit that famous fairway bunker shot out against Grant Waite over the water to make birdie, win the hole. I mean, birdie the hole, win the golf tournament. I drive it into a bunker a little short of that. And Scott Hoke hits his ball in the fairway. And Joe, we walk off the tee and the heavens open up. It is a downpour. It is raining as hard as you've ever seen. By the time we get to our balls in the fairway, there's rivers running down the fairways. The bunkers are filling up with water, and the horn goes off for suspension of play. So play is suspended. You don't have an option. You got to get off the golf course because of the danger of lightning. Sure. And people have been struck and killed in lightning situations. So you have to figure out where your ball is, make sure you know where your ball is, so when play is resumed, you know where it goes. So my ball's in the bunker, and they're going to come out and maintain these bunkers. So my caddy is getting a yardage off the back of the bunker. I'm getting a yardage off a sprinkler head. We're cross-referencing it, making sure we're right. I put 2 tees in the ground under my ball in the sand, pick up my ball, put it in my pocket. I got an umbrella up, and I walk out of the bunker, and Scott Hope comes running over and says, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're cheating again." and Joe, I lose it.
Where were you in the tournament at this point? So the 18th hole, are you still?
I bet you I was in 8th place,
so
something
you're in the
like
top
that.
10. You're in the top 10 in Canadian Open. You're
100%.
You're in play.
I played Glen Abbey as well as anybody for whatever reason.
So
I love that place.
But you're 2, 3 shots, 4 shots out of having a career win, your first career
exactly.
win. So
exactly. And so I said to him, "What?" This was an obscene lady. Okay, so I'll just skip all those, but you can just use your imagination.
So is it still raining? Is it raining at this point? You got your umbrellas?
Oh, it's pouring rain. We've got his caddy and Scott, my caddy and me, a scorer who's about 75 years old, and a little girl who's probably in 6th grade carrying our stand that says, Delsing 6 under par, Scott Hope 8 over par, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? And that's all. And so I go right at him and I grab him and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "You are not allowed to mark your ball in the bunker." And I'm like, "You are." So it's full on. Joe, I am this close to him. I'm standing on the umbrella, throw his umbrella away. He's under my umbrella. I got him by the back of the neck, and I am ready to just drop him. So it's uncomfortable out there. Our scorer is like, "What's going on? This is golf. I thought this was gentlemanly. What's wrong with this guy?" And I said, "Ma'am, would you please call an official?" And she's like,
"It's pouring.
I'd really like to get in." I said, "Ma'am, would you please call an official?" She says, "I will." I said, "Thank you. I'm pissed."
And an ambulance.
I'm holding Scott Hoke like this in an umbrella. My caddy has never seen me like this. He has no idea what to do. Now, because we're in Canada.
Have you ever seen yourself like this before?
Oh, I've been in fights before, Joe, when I was a kid.
But have you ever seen like the inner anger that you felt right then, right there, at that moment, the emotion? Have you've seen yourself there before?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Joe, right. I got divorced for sure.
all right.
It wasn't physical. Let's make sure I clear that up. But I've been angry before. Yeah. So So we're in Canada. If we're down in the States, every single PGA Tour official that could possibly come up, I would know and have a relationship with because I know all of them. But because we're in Canada, there's a CPGA official, a Canadian PGA official that co-officiate. Well, this so happens that we got a guy that I have no idea who he is. Now, I watch him drive up, and he's got to be thinking, "What in the is going on now?"
It's still raining cats and
everybody else. The entire golf course is evacuated, and I'm standing out in the middle of 18th fairway, pouring rain, holding this guy, and we are 8 inches apart. And he drives up, and he says, "Can I help you?" And I said, "You sure can." I said, "Would you kindly tell this expletive that I am entitled in the rules of golf to mark my ball under suspension through the green, which means anywhere.
Right.
And he goes, of course you are. And I said, that includes a fairway bunker. And he goes, well, that would be through the green. And I said, thank you. And he's looking at me. And I said, thank you again. He's looking at me. And I said, you got to go. To him. I said, you got to leave. And he goes, okay. So he leaves. And so then I said to our scorer, ma'am, would you kindly start walking into the clubhouse? I've got to finish this. And she looks at me like, what is wrong with you? So she's walking in. And so when she gets about 30 yards away, I just let him have it. I just let him have it. He's had the reputation of being the biggest asshole on the PGA Tour. He is dumb as a sack of hammers. He's just got no clue. He's a great player. He's like the human ATM, Joe. He made a ton of money. He's a great player. But in terms of being a human being, just no. So I finally just throw him like this and like just get away from it. So we walk in, like it is quiet. No one's talking to me. I got my umbrella down. My caddy's just walking next to me. And he goes, what are we going to do?
You got to be so
I go,
at this point.
I'm just beside myself. So I said, we're done for the day. You know, I take my stuff out of the bag. We'll wait for direction, but I'm sure we're going to play first thing in the morning. Just go. It's like, okay, are you okay? I go, no, I'll be fine, but I'm not okay right now. So I go up in the clubhouse of Glen Abbey, and it's maybe 1/3. Most of the guys have already left. This has taken, 40 minutes to get done. I'm soaking wet. I just grab something light to eat and something to drink and go in the corner. I'm just sitting by myself. I just need to decompress. And I'm sitting there and I'm not really hungry, so I'm just kind of picking at this food. And someone taps me on the shoulder and I look up, Joe, and it's Scott Hope's dad. And he looks at me and he goes, I'm really sorry about what happened out there. I don't say anything. And he goes, I've told my son he needs to just keep his mouth shut because he really has no idea what he's talking about. And I just looked at him and I said, thanks. And then he walked away. And I was like, this is the weirdest. And the funny thing is, Joe, I didn't tell any of the other players. If any other players would ever read the book, they probably don't even know this happened, except Scott Hope knows it happened, and so does my caddy.
Right. Oh my gosh, Jay. I just
crazy, huh?
Being 18 and just your world now goes from North St. Louis 5 to a house to California. It just what a way to start adulthood. What a change of scenery and life and everything. Then,
Joe, we had 625 kids, I think, at the U High when we 625 total students in 4 years of, from freshmen to seniors when we graduated.
Right.
And I think that was the number, something like that, or 500, whatever it was. I think, what do we have, 125 kids in our class?
It dwindles. It dwindles
Yeah.
over the years, Jay. I think you started
Yeah,
out. I think you started out. It usually was around 1,000 kids, but it dwindled. So it may have been about 650, 700, something like that. Close enough.
So Joe, the first class I went to at UCLA had more students in it than our entire school. I was watching from the back of this auditorium the professor on a screen. There were 750 people in Moore Hall. And I'm like, this is weird, man. I don't know how we're going to do this.
What did you study at UCLA?
I did business econ, mostly economics. Yeah.
Okay. Did you feel like I went to St. Louis U? I didn't feel like, but part of it was all me. I shouldn't say part of it. It was all me. I didn't get a lot out of St. Louis University. I got a lot out of St. Louis U High, but not a lot out of St. Louis University. Did you feel like you got a lot out of UCLA from?
No.
Yeah.
No, I got nothing. I got a golf education.
Okay.
I got a life education. I look back at how little I studied and how little I applied, and I'm like, dude, because now I'm actually interested in some of those things. But Joe, if you time capsuled me back there, I'd do the same damn thing. I was on my own for the first time, and I had, stuff I wanted to do, and didn't matter. I was going to make my own decisions, run my car into the ditch, from my own person standpoint, but I was going to try to figure it out. And you know what? It was a learning experience because even though I was staying in a really wealthy home, I still didn't have any money, so I still had to figure out, like, can I buy one more drink or do I want to have lunch tomorrow?
So what was the wildest party that you went to while you were in college?
I threw it. Mrs. McCulloch went out of town and she told me I could have a party. My buddy and I drew a map.
Where was my invitation?
We had 500 people at this party.
Oh my gosh, Jay, how fun.
Joe, we got pretty popular after that when we walked around campus. They're like, that's the dude that lives in Bel Air. I'm like, right here, man. Sure. Yeah, we had a party. It got a little scary because some bikers showed up and we were like, oh.
That's not good.
I had a player on my team. His name was Louis Bartoletti. He was from Montana, and he had 3 of his best buddies in town from Montana, and they were kind of the bodyguards trying to keep a little law and order. Oh, Joe, there were expensive things all over the house. This is how naive I was. Nothing got taken. Someone stole the tapper to one of the kegs, and we broke probably half a dozen glasses, and that's it. We got so lucky. They could have robbed the place because I was not paying attention.
Well, how did it get to 500? I guess just to work out at UCLA.
We drew up maps. And my buddy and I sat on Bruin Walk, and we handed out 400 of these to all women. And Joe, do you have any idea what the girls look like at UCLA? Any idea? We didn't have a chance with any of them, but we sure thought we did.
That is hilarious, Jay.
We didn't invite one guy other than the guys from the golf team, because you know how that works. The guys always know where the girls are.
They're gonna show up. Some of the girls are gonna call them. They're gonna show
100%.
up.
Yeah.
So that was it. So did you do half barrels? How'd you do the drinks? Because 500 people is a lot of people to serve alcohol.
Oh no, we bought a bunch of kegs. We bought a bunch of booze. We just.
How'd you? So are you 21 at this point?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're only 21. All right.
Yeah. That was my junior year, so I was 21.
How did you get them delivered? Did you go pick them up?
Oh, we picked them up.
You picked them
Nobody
up.
delivered. I didn't even know you could deliver them.
So,
I was just, yeah.
So was this you? Was Pate involved in it? Was Pate?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Pate's on your team. So it's you, Steve, Pate. Who else is on your team?
Corey Pavin, Tom Pernice, and Duffy Waldorf.
Oh my gosh! What a great group! How fun is that? Yeah. Those are all fun names that they all sound like. I can only imagine in UCLA at 20.
All idiots, Joe. We were all idiots. We were really good golfers.
That's a great movie. Forget the rest
clowns.
of it. Just do a movie in that party with 500 people with you, Corey Pavin, and Duffy Wardorf at 21 years old.
I know. What could possibly go wrong? Everything.
Was there a swimming pool there?
Oh, of course.
Of course. All right.
Tennis court. Why
the hell wasn't that in the book? That should have been the whole book.
Oh man, there were certain things we left out in the book, not intentionally, but it was just like, I don't know. There's a couple of I was on. I had a couple of people say to me, "You really, were kind of aggressive," and I'm like, dude, I didn't tell you anything. The real, there are things that I saw, Joe, from being on tour in locker rooms and things I know that I would never tell, and I won't ever tell, because there's no point in it. But someone said to me, "Gosh, it sounds like you really hate Hale Irwin." I'm like, I don't hate Hale Irwin. Hale's just, Hale gets on the golf course and turns it into an ass because he's uber competitive. He doesn't care, so it's fine. The story about Hale getting to walk backwards and wanting to remind Hale that his ball didn't cross the hazard on 18 when he fired another ball right over my head, Joe. He didn't care.
Oh my gosh! So that must have been. So I've never met Hale Irwin. I've won't get too deep into. So I've never met Hale Irwin, but I've never heard a positive thing said about Hale Irwin, and I'll leave it at that. So
I'll just say this: the man won 3 U.S. Opens. The man won 3 U.S. Opens.
Great.
He's a Hall of Fame golfer,
and I'm sure he helped a lot of people raise money through different charities. I'm sure there's somebody out there that thinks Hale Irwin's a great guy. I just haven't.
He did a lot through Children's Hospital here in St. Louis.
Right, I
really did.
I have not had the pleasure of meeting one.
Yeah,
I've never met. There's a few people that don't like me, and there's a few people that do like me. So hopefully you run into people that do like me. But there are people out there that like me, It's just like, so like I'm 64 and I've never had the pleasure of meeting one that likes Hale Irwin. I'll just leave it at that. So where was the wildest place? Like, and did you travel with your family overseas? Did you take the girls overseas? Okay, so good call.
And I didn't really play that much overseas back in the day, Joe. I played the British Open, the Scottish Open in '95. I did some playing in Mexico, but that's not really overseas. So I only went overseas one time, which is actually, if I could do it over again, I would play the British Open. The British Open is amazing. It is just absolutely special. And so I played in '95 at St. Andrews, which was really super cool.
Nice.
And then I played the Scottish Open at Carnoustie, which was also really, really cool. Great cool stuff.
So
cool golf courses.
Did you make the cut in the British Open?
I did. I made the cut in the British Open. I had a good tournament in the Scottish Open the week before. I finished about 15th, which was interesting because I never played any links golf before, Joe. And crazy, just an entirely different animal, man.
So like if you played so well, so like why was there a way where you could maneuver it where you could play those tournaments more, or was it just wasn't that?
I had to qualify, so you'd have to spend 15,000-20,000 to get yourself over there, and hopefully you're playing well so you could qualify to get in the tournaments. I wasn't ever exempt into those tournaments.
Okay.
David Faraday is a close buddy of mine, got me an exemption into the Scottish Open at Carnoustie. And then I qualified right after that for the British Open in a cool little linksy course called Scott's Craig. But one thing that we didn't talk about, Joe, was
hold on. So you qualify. So you get top 15. Faraday gets you an exemption to play in the Scottish Open, which is probably a little bit before the British Open. So there's a qualify
1 week before.
All right. So you're over in England. Is this all the same year?
Yeah.
Okay, so you get an invitation, you get an exemption to play in the Scottish Open, shoot well, get top 20, which is insane. First time playing a links course, absolute insanity.
Yeah.
And then you play in another like a 1-day qualifying tournament for the British Open.
Two-day qualifier. So they end the Scottish Open on Saturday, so they can start the qualifier for the British Open on Sunday because they have so many people trying to qualify for it.
Okay.
So I went right from the Scottish Open to playing in I think I shot 9 under par in the qualifier for 2 days and got in. And then I went and played. The coolest thing about playing golf over there at that time of year, Joe, the sun never goes down. I mean, it goes down for like 30 minutes. It's light almost all day long. My afternoon tee time in the British Open was 4:45.
Oh my!
I'm coming down. It's 9:20, and Joe, we could have easily played another 18 holes of golf because there was that much light.
So what was the course that you played for the qualifier? For the
Scott's Craig, a little linksy course I'd never heard of called Scott's Craig.
And where is this in England or Scotland?
It's all Scotland. Yeah,
all of it's in Scotland. So the
St. Andrews is in Scotland.
So
yeah,
it's all in Scotland.
Yeah.
So where did you stay when you were in Scotland? Where did you stay?
I stayed in Dundee. And then we stayed in Glasgow, and just little crappy hotels like we always did.
Well, now,
You know,
it's just you. Is it just you?
yeah, just me, and then there were a couple other U.S. players, so we just kind of, guys that we'd share a car with or something like
Share
that.
expenses,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah. Donnie Hammond and Tommy Armour was who I went over there with that time.
So here was another thing I noticed. There's a lot of alone time. Like you traveled with your family.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
a lot of alone time when you're
tons.
because you're not. It's not a team sport. It's an individual sport. So most
Yeah,
of the time, it's you're competing. Not only is it not a team sport, but all the other individuals you're out there, you're competing against. Not necessarily like you're bashing tennis balls against each other, but you're competing to see who gets the prize.
yes,
So it's not necessarily like you all are best buddies because at the end of the day you're competing for the same thing. So there's a
right.
lot of alone time, and there's guys out there that aren't necessarily nice, that don't want you to succeed because they see your success as making it harder for them to succeed. So there's a lot of guys out there that'll talk, say things that aren't necessarily good for you. So you've got to keep a lot to yourself. You've got to mind the wagon really, really strongly. So that means probably more alone time than any human being would really like. So how did you kind of manage that inner conversation, that inner time with yourself?
That's a great question. I've never been asked that before, but I like being alone. I don't have a problem with it. It must be my dynamic personality, Joe. That's why I like being alone so much.
All three of them.
Yeah, also all 12 symbols inside here. No, basically, Joe, that's what sports psychology is all about. And it's all about controlling your mind and being able to understand which thoughts you're going to give energy to and which ones you won't. And because we're all bombarded with negative thoughts, even Tiger Woods, it's all just, what do you give energy to? What do you give life to? What do you, how do you build in a mechanism to battle those things? And you'll learn how to do that. And I learned how to do that even to this day. And it's a skill. It's a skill that a guy like Tiger Woods and a guy like Jack Nicklaus did better than anybody, because their minds were just exceptional, because they're still humans. They jack all sorts of stuff up. Look at how much Tiger's jacked his personal life up off the golf course. But look at what happens to him when he gets in the most pressure-packed situations you could throw a human being into. He rises to the top like few other. So it's really impressive what Jack and Tiger can do, and the best players have the strongest minds. You can talk about their golf games all you want. Their minds are their best club in their bag. 100%, Joe. 100%.
I believe
the
that.
thing that most people don't understand about playing the PGA Tour, Joe, is that right there. They don't understand how strong you need to be mentally. My buddy John Perlis, who's mentioned in the book, he's caddied for me for probably 150 of my events, went to UCLA. He was an All-American. When we're sitting around and people find out that I'm a professional golfer, played on the PGA Tour and stuff, and they go, that's the coolest job ever. I just had someone say this to me yesterday. And Pearlie says all the time, it's the coolest job ever until you get it. And then it's not so cool because it's really, really hard.
It's really hard. And
yeah,
there's no backup. I understand that you mentioned that there's some sort of pension, but it's really a dog eat dog. It's really for a professional game. It is the most dog eat dog sport out there, and so I just the PGA's probably done a little bit better over the years, and Tiger certainly helped it. But man, you just think about that life, and yeah, it does seem ritzy, but when you tack it down to airports and hotels, and yeah, you get to go play golf, 6 days a week or 5 days a week or whatever, but you have to pay to get in the tournament. Like, you've got to pay, you've got to find the sponsors, you got to find the money. Like, there's nothing gratis. Like, when you got your PGA card, Jay, what did that mean? It mean you had the right.
It got me access into the tournament. So now,
but you still had to pay for them.
But I had to pay for everything. My airfare, my caddy, my hotel, my food, my clothes, But yeah, all
and,
that.
and you got a
Yeah,
family, and you got a three girls to take care of. You've got all.
yeah.
I mean, but every week you're going out there. I just kudos to you, man, because I just think
Oh, thank you.
I never appreciated when we were classmates, right?
Yeah.
I knew you were a great golfer. I didn't start playing golf till after college, uh, but I never understood. I you know I still don't think I understand just how good a golfer you were, Jay. And I just but the numbers say 25 years doing what you did means you are one hell of a golfer. But more than that, Jay, it's just you got to be one hell of a person, because that's the strength it takes to go out, feed your family, and play a game that is designed to make you fold under pressure. It's designed to test the metal, right? I mean, that's the whole part of golf. It's just a test design of the steel. And brother, kudos, great career.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's some people are saying I'm too dumb to be afraid, Joe. So that might be a thing. I don't know.
I don't buy that. Dumb doesn't make the PGA Tour. It's just too much of an intellectual game. We both understand that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. I'm the luckiest guy you'll ever have on your pod. I started off in this game as a caddy. I'm sitting in front of you, 64 years old. I still don't feel like I have to work for a living. I still get to make my own decisions. I get to run my life. I get to play golf. The game has been so good to me and my children, my family. And I say on my show all the time, Joe, golf is a societal powerhouse. The PGA Tour will raise over $350 million this year for charities all around our country. And it will donate more money to charities than Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, and NHL combined. It's just insane.
Now, and you were instrumental in bringing the Ascension/Stiefel Classic to Norwood. I know you've worked hard and long on that, and I know you still are involved in that. So kudos to that. That's been a great thing for Norwood and the city of St. Louis.
Almost $4 million we've raised for the North County area. And Joe, I grew up there. It needs it. It needs it. And I can't say enough about Ascension, and now even more for Ron Kay and his team at Stiefel. Stiefel is becoming what Anheuser-Busch was when we were kids, Joe. Stiefel is all over the place, man. They're at the ballpark. They're at the Enterprise Center. They're at Energizer Field. I mean, Ron Kay is stepping up and showing this community, what it means to him by putting his dollars where his mouth is, and it's really, really good. It's really, really good.
I know the mayor of St. Louis probably isn't watching, but I would like to think that the new mayor of St. Louis,
Kara Spencer,
show some
nice
appreciation, show some appreciation and love to who and what Stiefel means for the city of St. Louis. Because
Amen.
Sometimes they don't get the love. Stiefel doesn't get the love they deserve. And I hope Kara goes overboard, showing them just how important they are to the future of our city.
Amen.
So
right on.
Jay, I'll leave the last. The book's a great read. Jay's got a show on ESPN. Jay, when's your show? What's the name of your show?
It's called Golf with Jay Delsing. We have a national show that we're in 50 markets and 64 affiliates. It's a 1-hour show. It's called Golf with Jay Delsing National. And then we have our local show here in St. Louis on Sunday mornings from 8 to 10 on 101 ESPN. But we drop both shows as podcasts. So
awesome.
we got some great guests. We just had Davis Love on that, 2 weeks ago. And we've had Jack Nicklaus on, Barbara Nicklaus, Wayne Gretzky, David Faraday, Jim Nance. Lucky, man. A lot of really fun people have jumped on there and told some fun stories.
When you had Davis Love on, did you talk about Wainwright at all?
We talked a little bit about Wayne. We basically talked about, I don't know if you knew this, but Davis just had open heart surgery.
I didn't.
So that's what we talked about mostly. But yeah, he's good buddies with Wayno because of the Sea Island connection and stuff like that.
For that part. So
yeah.
I love Sea Island and St. Simon's Island. Glorious part of America. I love that part of the world. I've never been to California. It almost makes me want to go out and see that house where you had the party with 500 people, Jay. That's all I want.
Google Earth. Google Earth.
I will.
55555 Perugia Way. Just check it
I'll
out.
look
You
it
won't
up in the
believe it.
book, man. I'll look it up in the book. But that's the movie, Jay. Forget all the golf tournament. It's just the movie is that party.
Exactly.
Jay,
That's
thank you
fun.
for coming on my podcast, man. I hope I enjoyed the time. I enjoyed the hour. I just kudos, man. Kudos.
Joe, love you, buddy. I appreciate you. Thanks for all the kind things you've done with me and helping me try to figure out how to live a better life, a fuller life, have our bodies kind of hang in there with us. Joe, check out this thing, Dr. David Sinclair. Dr. David Sinclair. He's doing unbelievable stuff where they're actually going to be able to, they think they're going to be able to reverse aging. They think they're going to be able to have teeth regenerate. So if you have root canal, they'll just pull the tooth out and be able to activate your cells to grow another tooth. I just read some stuff about him. It's just
check him out. I'll check him out.
crazy
Awesome.
stuff. Check him out.
That's awesome. I will. All right, Jay. Thank you.
All the best to you, my friend.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in with Kingdom's Evolution. That was Jay Delsing. Believe it. And he's got a great book out there. Please buy it. And I'll see you next show, which will be here shortly.